how do we make kindness not be a soft skill? And I think the answer is,
I love that.
How do we have people put flowers in the barrels of the guns? Remember those pictures from the 60s and 70s? How do we do that? How do we make it muscular? And how do we make it viral and grow exponentially? I think we needed a bridge over the river of unkindness. That's rockkindness.org. Come one, come all. August 15 is the launch date.
Welcome to the Happy Soul Podcast. My name is Melissa, and this is Sammi. We are diving deep into conversations that connect and inspire. Stories of resilience, triumph, and transformation. Stories that take us to the heart of human connection. Please note that opinions of our guests do not necessarily reflect those of this podcast. Please listen with your kindness and an open mind. Each story shared is authentic and vulnerable. Let's embrace our differences with empathy, knowing every voice enriches us. Together, let's cultivate a community of respect and curiosity. Thank you for listening. Now sit back, relax, and prepare to be inspired. Welcome back to the Happy Soul Podcast, everyone. Today we are doing a special release. We are going to be chatting with Peter Samuelson with a new project that he has on the go called ROK Kindness. And he's going to teach us all about what ROK Kindness is. It has a launch date of August 15th. So we're so excited to learn about what ROK Kindness is and how we can all get involved. We love talking to Peter, and we're just really excited that the ROK team reached out to us to share all about this new cause he's got going on.
Yeah, we're really excited because they reached out to say that he had this new project on the go, which, of all the projects he's got on the go, he's got a lot of them that are doing a lot of good. And so for him to start something else that is spreading kindness when he already spread so much kindness is pretty incredible, especially the way that this is holistic. Anybody, regardless of anything, can be a part of it. ROK Kindness being random opportunities of kindness is what it stands for. And I think we usually are all aware of the random acts of kindness. And he explains at the very end why they chose random opportunities of kindness instead of random acts of kindness. And it's absolutely, we love it. Yeah. We definitely encourage you to go check out rockkindness.org and check out their mission, see what's going on. Everything launches on August 15th. But we are I don't want to tell you too much because Peter answers all of our questions about what this all stands for, what the goal is, where it comes from, what the hope is, and how you can make a difference with this too in this amazing interview. So there is a really special QR code that Peter goes into to tell you about how this applies to you and how you can add your own personal one in the episode. We're going to put it up here on the screen so you can screen cap this and use it if you'd like to. We will also probably put it in the show notes in some way, shape, or form, and we'll make sure there's access to it on our website so that you can access it in many different forms, or also, like we said, go to rockkindness.org and access your own there. Welcome to the podcast again, Peter. We are so excited to have you back. We cannot express enough how much we enjoy having you here and sharing more about all of the things you've got going on. And now you have another one that we get to share about, called ROK Kindness, Random Opportunities of Kindness, if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Awesome. I have a bunch of questions for you because we want to learn all about this and spread awareness about this as much as possible. But we would like to just first ask you to tell us what random opportunities of kindness is and where it stems from and what your hope is for it.
So I've been depressed for at least a couple of years. I know you think I'm all singing, all dancing kind of idea, but actually I've been systemically depressed looking online and reading everything, because what I've realized is hatred and loathing are really doing very well at the moment. And I think we have to put a stop to it. It's not a political statement. It's not a red or blue thing. I see hatred from all directions going on. Like, what happened to the politicians in the middle? They've all resigned and gone off to do something different. I see people yelling and screaming and punching people in the nose, and I just think it's awful. And in my mentoring, I mentor hundreds of foster kids, teenagers. They all know that half the country, plus or minus, hates their guts, from one direction or the other direction. I think it's dreadful. And my mind has been going around, is this what human beings are. Like, I remember we had a vacation a few years ago in Perigord in France, and down the road from the holiday home was a cave system where Neanderthal and Homo sapiens lived, 80,000 years ago. And it was cold, it was dark, it was very scary, and we had flashlights. And I added on to that thinking, wow, you would have been scared of all those strange noises coming in from the mouth of the cave. You'd be huddled together in the cold, in the dark, with your kind of homies, and you'd be hungry and thirsty and scared that some raiding party from the other side of the valley, those peculiar people with different color skin or who dressed in different styles and whatever, with the drumming at night, or the saber-toothed tiger, the whole damn proposition of life was awful. And I think what happened then is eventually humans became farmers. We became an agrarian and not a hunter-gatherer system. And we came out of the caves. But Samuelson's first law of caves, I think, is you can take the humans out of the caves. I'm not so sure you can take the caves out of the humans. And I think we carry a propensity to be misled into cult-like hatred, certainly being afeared, being scared of people who are different, I think don't feel very good. So if a leader says, don't be scared of them, we'll all hate them together, hell with them, we'll punch them in the nose, I think that's a much more appealing proposition. But I think it's all horrible because I think it's destroying, because of social media and online, the whole thing. I think we're losing our whole civilization because kindness seems to be back-footed. So then the question, because I'm always looking for huge challenges and what am I presumptuous enough about that I think I'm the guy that should do something about it. Film producers are, we have to be brave because the whole thing is so scary that you wouldn't otherwise dare to think, yeah, I can raise $25 million to make this film that doesn't exist yet. I got nothing to sell except my voice. I can tell people the story. Maybe I can move their heart and they'll finance the film or direct it or star in it, whatever. So I realized that there was no national or multinational platform to encourage people to be kind. I'm all for people doing confidential kindness. I think it's wonderful. But I think in this day and age, we need to do more patting on the head, recognition, congratulating people for being kind. We need a system. If people are falling in the river and individuals are jumping in to save their life, I'm not saying don't do that. I think it's splendid. Grassroots kindness is what makes the world go round. But what I'm started saying to myself back in January is, what if we built a bridge? What would that look like? So I realized we need something that's not instead of grassroots kindness. It's actually an enablement of grassroots kindness. So I was thinking about that and I thought, well, we need something to go viral because that's how we will make it grow exponentially. So I went and found a psychologist who works in the field of multi-level marketing. And I said, explain to me from your studies in psychology, how do you do that? Is it 1 to 3 to 9 or is it 1 to 5 to 25? What's the algorithm to it? And he was very kind and he explained the whole thing to me. And I said, okay, well, what is that in the form of a platform? So what we have built is called rokkindness.org, ROKINDNESS.org. If you forget that and you think it might be a .com, that will work too. If you can't remember if it's got 1K in the middle or 2Ks in the middle, those will work also. But the actual website, the core website, and it's up now, is rockkindness.org. That's it. So it's easiest done with an example. You go on there and it says to you, we don't want anything from you and we will maintain your privacy. Please open an account. It's free. It then allows you to print out business card size little handy dandy things that look exactly like that. In that QR code is your information, your membership code on the ROK site. With an example, let me give you this one. You're in a supermarket, and in the checkout line in front of you is an old lady, not very well dressed, and she doesn't have enough money to pay for her groceries, and she's counting out nickels and dimes and pennies, and it's awful, and she's ashamed, and you feel it in your heart, and you lean in and you give your credit card to the checkout clerk and you say, just stick it on here. You don't make a big fuss about it, you just do it. The old lady turns around and says, thank you so much. How can I ever repay you? And you say, you don't need to repay me. I see you. God bless. Good luck. And you say, I would like to put into your hand a bunch of these. And I'd like to ask you if you could please pay the kindness forward. Do it once, do it 10 times, do it 3 times, whatever you want. She says, yeah, I have opportunities to do that almost every day. Give me a bunch of cards. You give them to her. You go home, she goes home. You didn't even know each other's names. She goes on the site, because it's there on the cards. She opens a little account, doesn't cost her anything. You get points for your kindness. She gets points for her kindnesses. And the people she does the kindnesses to, they get ripple on the pond points for their kindnesses. And so it goes. And you can see, and so can she, because you're in the same family tree of kindnesses. You can also look at a geographical map. You can see who did what and where, because you were kind. What happened as the ripples from the rock you threw into the middle of the pond, as those ripples spread out, where did they go and what did they amount to? We're working with geographical areas like the Vail Valley in Colorado. In, we think, November, they're going to do the Vail Challenge. Let's all be kind to each other. We've got some churches, mosques, synagogues, the Rotary Club, the Temple, the Kiwanis, the Elks. We have a very interesting one in York, Pennsylvania, where the police commissioner is going to authorize police officers on traffic duty to give kindness citations, where instead of getting a fine, you can have the option of doing some kindnesses and then you don't have to pay the fine. And we hope what we do is to make kindness more noticeable, more sticky, more viral. And we think we do it, you can use our site anonymously, God bless. But we also think, for most people, stacking up some points, getting invited by the governor of Ohio to come and get the Ohio Kindness Medal alongside some other people who have stacked up points. It goes Rock Climber and then Rock Star and then Rock Champion. And then you go to this highest level where you can go and the governor of your state will put a medal around your neck and there'll be a little press conference and you can take your friends and you can take some family, and won't that be grand? And, I, just before this podcast, I was on with a rabbi who said, Maimonides talked about the highest form of giving at the point of the pyramid at the top is to give anonymously. He said, but let's remember that the bottom of the pyramid, the base, which is to be acknowledged for giving, the base is a whole lot wider than the pointy bit at the top of the pyramid. And he said, there's nothing the matter with being counted. There's nothing the matter with being encouraged. There's nothing the matter with getting the Ohio Medal of Kindness. Why not? Our goal here is to do kindness and to make it go viral. We must do this now because hatred and punch you in the nose and cruelty and othering, they're growing powerfully, exponentially. It's based on fear. It's awful.
Yeah.
We have to do more to nip it in the bud.
Amazing.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much because I know, like, I have, like I said, kind of before we started recording, is I have almost like put my nose up at the recognition of being kind, right? And you're right, like you said about what the rabbi said about the bottom, your image of a bridge is so perfect because if you never encourage people to be kind, like in a sense that there's a reciprocity for them, because lots of people won't do things unless there's something in it for them. But once they do that kindness and they get that little bit, they also are going to get the little bit of pleasure that they got from being kind, and so they're getting both, and the growth will happen as they grow to see that it's not just about the recognition that they get or whatever they got back from it. It's also the what they put out there. And so that's like, I love that bridge. It's like that image of a bridge is exactly what that is. It's the people who aren't doing anything kind have this like little encouragement to get on the bridge and cross over and start doing more kind things. So I really love that.
Good ideas often have more than one mother. I'm only one of them. So Kevin Smith, all on his own, 2 years ahead of me, he founded something called kindnessworldwide.org, which is a 501c3. I, 12 years ago, started teaching teenage foster kids, a course called Random Acts of Kindness. And in the second class, I say to them, there's an amazing donor called Mort Meyerson, and he's donated enough money that each of you 30 10th graders, you're going to get $200. And they say, we get $200. And I say, well, you don't get to keep it. You have to give it away. Mm-hmm. And they say, how's that going to work? And I say, well, you can't have any personal benefit. But we're going to go out together to whatever you write a little essay about. We're going to give it. And then we're going to go back a few weeks later and see if it was any good. Did the unhoused gentleman buy the shoes or did he buy a bottle of brandy? You know, sometimes philanthropy doesn't work. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Kevin, entirely unrelated to that, Kevin had been running Kindness Worldwide with all sorts of activities. He and I met in the jungle of unkindness, and we said, well, why are we doing it separately? Why don't we just help it? We're supposed to be kind. 1 and 1 make 3. With Michael Binko, we've been working on it together ever since. I said, I think I know where to get a modest amount of money. Kevin said, I'll double it. Yes. So, I mean, the back office is very complicated, but the front office is do an act of kindness, go on the site, record it, open a little free account, print out some cards. You can print them one at a time. You can print them on paper or electronically or on a piece of cardboard. You can also print out 50 or 100 at a time. They print 8 on a sheet. If you want to get fancy, Avery sell card on Amazon that's 8 pre-perforated you can do, but you don't really have to. Honestly, print them out on pieces of paper and cut them out with a pair of scissors, just as good in my book. If they look a bit rough and ready, okay, it means you didn't spend money on overhead. And that's it. And my pledge is to keep on doing this until I see that the virality caught. Honestly, if Tupperware can do it and Amway and Mary Kay Cosmetics, come on, we've got to be able to do it with kindness, don't we? And I pledge I'll carry on volunteering to lead this thing with Kevin, with Michael, with the others, until we see it goes viral, at least.
The timing of this is just amazing. Perfect timing. We just interviewed Jess Tatu a couple of weeks ago, and we had this amazing conversation, and in it she was talking about how in her personal kind of growth journey, she was talking about how she found it personally helpful to take when she was feeling negative about something, or something was kind of happening in her life where she was feeling negative, or she felt badly about somebody else or something like that. Correct me if I'm saying it wrong, Sammi, but she would take that feeling, and she said it was just really important for her personally to change the energy, and she would turn it around and do something kind for somebody else, and just kind of change if she was stressed about something or stressed about somebody, or somebody was causing her stress or something like that. She would take it, flip the energy, and put it into an act of kindness. And I thought that was just the coolest thing. So to have that conversation and then to roll into this conversation.
I'm here to tell you that through a decade of teaching random opportunities for kindness to 10th grade kids in foster care, there is no human on the planet less empowered than foster kids. Everything is done to them. They feel as though they never get a vote in anything. They get moved around like cardboard boxes. They never get given a suitcase except by us in First Star. So I can tell you, when we do these random opportunities for kindness, it's like watching flowers grow. It's good for whoever the kids are helping, but it's fantastic for the kids. I think this is win-win-win. And if we're going to have peace in the Valley of America, or whatever this is, we better realize that on the other side of the valley, the people with a different color skin, wearing different clothing and banging the drums in a different way, and maybe worshiping a different God, we better realize that at their core, they're exactly the same as us. And if we went and had lunch with them, if two grandmas had lunch together, they would immediately take out their pictures of the grandchildren and realize, wow, we may be completely different, but boy, our love for our grandchildren is identical.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that's how you make kugel? Let me tell you how I make kugel. But we don't let those things happen because the haters, for self-aggrandizement purposes, don't let the people that you hate meet you. You know, they give you a kind of actual or theoretical kind of a uniform to sort of keep you away in your zone of hating. And it's dreadful. We need to get past it. We need to defeat Samuelson's first law of caves. You can't take the caves out of the people. BS to that. We are going to take the caves out of the people, and we are going to show them that humans are humans are human. ROK Kindness is there to help with the family tree of kindness, you know, taking pictures of the ripples, encouraging, recognizing, giving little medals. That's what it is. So use the QR code of Happy Soul and or of Sammi and Melissa, and that way they'll help you to do more. You'll help them to do more. And the glory of the thing is you'll be able to see, oh my goodness, look at what I'm part of.
That's really cool.
I love it. I love it.
love
Okay.
it.
I have 3 questions for you, Peter.
Go.
One of them is, I want to ask you if you can pinpoint where you learned the value of kindness.
Oh, clearly, from my parents. I can remember being a little boy. You know, my parents were born in poverty. My dad left school at 14. He did very well in business. But from the time I was like, 4 and 5 years old, I spent Sundays at that damn dining room table licking stamps for mass mailings to raise money for the charity for mentally challenged people, the charity for animals, the charity for ecology, the charity for this, that, and the other. They were always doing something, and it was just assumed that I would help them. So I did. You get the bug, and then you get to be a teenager and you organize your first charity. I did. And then I did in college, my second charity. And you realize this is a heck of a wonderful way of meeting girls, and then so you're redoubled in your enthusiasm, and so are they. And you realize, oh, this is the fabric of life.
Yeah. I always wonder, because I know just from my kids are still very young, but trying to teach them kindness and giving and stuff. And I worry sometimes, like, like, I hope that they see the value in, like you did from your parents, but you worry, like, are they going to reject it? Are they going to think, oh, my mom made me lick all these stamps and now I hate it, you know? So I think it's really encouraging to hear that that's where you learned it from. And even the way that you said it was, you were going like, I had to look all these stamps, and yet you still found the value in being kind, even though your recollection of it is not positive in terms of licking all the stamps, you know?
I think that the answer is just little life hacks for parents. Number one, the kids are listening to you even when you're trying to teach them a lesson. They're listening even though they run to their room, slam the door, and stick their head under the pillow and shout, "Leave me alone. This is my private space." They're listening to you anyway. And quite often, at least 50% of the time, even teenagers in their worst moment of anti-parental obnoxiousness, they end up doing what you just suggested. It's faster and easier and more frequent if they discover it for themselves. So your goal is to create opportunities for them to discover it for themselves, rather than telling them, we are all volunteering on Sunday. There's nothing the matter with that. But if you can get them to discover it themselves through the school, part of my power as a mentor is I'm not the parent, and I wrote the book. Quick plug for the book. I wrote the book, Finding Happy. A big part of Finding Happy is go help someone. You think the world is too much with you. You're depressed. You have PTSD. Life is horrible. Your teacher's mean to you. You missed 3 classes of math and now you don't understand any of it. Go volunteer. Watch how your whole attitude to your life turns around. And who knows, you may meet someone who loves you.
Okay, and then I want to ask you personally, obviously there's so many things that you were doing that are giving kindness in the world, like in just running this program on its own. But can you think of the last thing you did personally in your personal life that was your last random opportunity of kindness you took advantage of?
I absolutely can. About a week ago, I was on my bicycle. What I do for my own sanity is we are right over there out the window. We are on the edge of the undeveloped land that stretches all the way to the coast. If you just keep going, you eventually get to Pacific Coast Highway without ever being on a street. Okay. And I, for sanity, get on my bike and I go. And it's 22.3 miles round trip. I was nearly at the coast, and I listened to the radio on my earbud thing. I heard that there was a mountain lion loose in Santa Monica, exactly where I was. And I thought, well, but hang on, this is not good, because there are people walking babies in strollers and little dogs on leashes. Someone's going to have their pet, or God forbid, their child, eaten by a bloody great, I've never met a mountain lion, but they eat small animals. But what I did is I said, right, I'm abandoning this round trip and I'm going to spend the next hour going on every street. I did a widening grid and I told everyone I saw on foot, with a baby, in a stroller, not in a stroller, little children and pets. I told all of them, snatch up your pet, go home, take your kid, go somewhere safe. There is a honest to God mountain lion. And if you don't believe me, turn on your cell phone, go on the news and you'll see it. It's right 2 blocks from here, 3 blocks from here. They eventually caught it. Somebody phoned in that it was in their garden and they fired a dart from upstairs in the house and they put it to sleep. And before it woke up, or maybe they gave it another shot, I don't know. But they got it off several miles inside the wilderness and they got it out of the net, left it there asleep, and I'm sure ran away before it woke up and got mad at them. So it all ended up well, but that's I put it on the site. I was so busy telling people that I actually didn't hand them cards. So I don't know what the effect of it was. And it was, you know, I'm an imperfect example of replication.
I love that example
that's
so
good.
much, because my third question, which I won't ask, was just when you gave the example earlier of, paying for someone's groceries, and I think people could be like, well, I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to do this. And telling that example right there, like the kindness that you showed had nothing to do with financial benefit, had nothing to do with anything. Like, even if you'd only stopped and told one person because that's all you had time to do because of whatever, it's still that is still an act of kindness. So I love that story so much, because first off,
my wife and I were driving from a screening in Westwood and sitting there. So it was late in the evening, 10:30 at night, and it was cold. So it wasn't in the last week or two because it's been hot. But we saw an elderly guy, getting ready to sleep rough on a piece of cardboard. And my wife looked at me and I looked at my wife and I said, yes, the yellow blanket's been in the back of my car forever. We don't need it. We've never taken it out of the back of the car. So we pulled up and I sat there in the driver's seat. My wife, I opened the trunk. She went and got the blanket. She went and put it around the guy. They had a few words together. She came and got back in. It was a ratty old blanket, value 3 cents.
yeah.
I have to say, I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited to start. I've been noticing, like, I'm trying to teach my kids kindness, and we've been talking lots about random acts of kindness. And there's a man that I live in a very small community, so we do not have a very large unhoused population, but there is a man that stands with a sign very close to a coffee place that we go to. And I said to the kids, I said, why don't we put together a package for him? Like, I believe he lives in his car. What kinds of things do you think we should do for him that would help him maybe take care of himself, that he lives in his car? Like, let's make him a little package of some dry shampoo or some things. And so, I've got the kids talking, and of course my son goes, well, why can't we just buy him a house, Mom? Like, well,
you could, Melissa, you could open an account, first name Neiman's, second name family, and you could actually do it as a project.
Yeah.
And you would be able to see what everybody else with access to that were doing.
I love this. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I as I've been teaching this, trying to teach kindness to my kids and taking opportunities to teach them some random acts, I've noticed that I have children with two different kind of personalities. And one of them very much is like, okay, we can do this, we can do this, we can do this. And then the other one is, I think they want to see the evidence a little bit more. Like, it's a harder concept to grasp for one of my kids. And I think this is a really great, I'm really excited for this, because I think this might be a really great way to show and to have that kind of tangibility to it. I think that, some people naturally think of it, and some people maybe need a little bit more tangibility. I think this is a great tool for somebody who needs maybe a little bit more tangibility.
The other thing, I'm speaking through your camera to every influencer that is watching this. We have a whole system how we're going to work with influencers, and just reach out. There's an email address on the site, and we can give you the influencer kit, and you will be able to see the ripples you're putting on your viewerships.
Amazing. I love it. Thank you so much for letting us be a part of this. We're so excited. Is there anything we didn't talk about in regards to this that you wanted just us to share?
No, just my place to say thank you. You guys rock. See how I used it? And I mean, we decided to call it ROK rather than RAK,
Random acts instead of
random opportunities for kindness, because we wanted to be able to use the word ROK. Awesome. I'm an old branding guy. You can use it as a verb. You can use it as a noun. You can throw it in a pond. It leads to metaphors of ripples and on and on and on. So we are ROK all day and all night.
Love
I
this
love it.
so much. Thank you so much, Peter. We are so excited to share this.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Sammi. Onwards.
Thank you so much, Peter. Have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Okay. Wow. Holy, I love this. I love that I mean, we've said this about Peter before, but I love that he sees a problem and he's like, how can I fix this problem? Or he intrinsically feels a problem and he's like, something needs to be done about this, and he makes it happen. Like, it's the coolest thing. It's the coolest thing. I'm really intrigued to see where this goes and how far it reaches. And like I said before, I'm like, in teaching my kids kindness, I can see, like, I'm of one brain and I have one child that thinks similarly to me. And I think that's kind of how you think too. Like, here's the act of kindness. We're just going to do it and just trust that the ripples are going to go, and we walk away and we trust that. But I have another brained child that wants to see the evidence of it. And that to me is proof that there are people, we've talked about this lots before, there are people that think differently than us, of course. And that doesn't mean they shouldn't do kind things or that they don't do kind things. And it doesn't mean, like, I love that pyramid thing where it's like this wide band at the bottom. It's still acts of kindness. Like, why do we do that? Why do we feel like it has to be invisible? It doesn't have to be. It's still kind. So, you know, and it kind of inspired me personally, because I'm thinking, you know, I'm trying to teach these kids kindness, and I'm like, here's this kid that needs to see the evidence. And my first thought is like, just do it. But it's going to teach him another way.
Yeah.
So cool.
I feel the same way.
Like, I
feel like that's part of what I really love about this conversation is it really challenged me in that exact thing, is that I really struggle with the concept of having to do it for recognition. Like I said, when I don't think this was the interview part where I said, like, when I was in network marketing, they would put on these incentives and it was random acts of kindness. And it was like, you had to do, like, mostly what it was is it was like a bingo card. It was a bingo card, and they would, like, that you had at home, and you had to do all of these bingo pieces to qualify for some sort of incentive where you got to go spend time with people of a higher pin level than you and learn things and blah, blah, blah. And many of the bingo things were like, get a new customer, sell this much volume of product, and blah, blah, blah. Well, like, there was lots of things. But one of them was usually a random act of kindness. And I was so mixed on it. And it was like, do a random act of kindness and send a message to your coach, and your coach will pass it out so everybody can hear it. And I was so mixed on it because I was like, I hate that these people are doing these acts of kindness just for this recognition, for this check mark. You know, I hated it. And it still irks me because I think you should just do it to do it. But this challenges me a lot into let go of that dislike of it, because there is still value if the reason you do something kind is to tell people you did something kind after you've done it. You still did something kind. Like, the person that you did it to generally has no knowledge that you did it to go tell people. They just received it, and so they receive that act of kindness, and they might go do more acts of kindness and not tell anybody about it, but they're still impacting those people along the way. And so it really challenges my mindset to let go of that grumpiness that I have about it. So,
well, I wouldn't call it grumpiness, but I get what you're saying, because I felt like that too. And that kind of, like I said, like I've seen that kind of in people, and I see it in my own children, and it is a challenge, and I get it. I get what you're saying. But then when I look at it, like, I'm kind of challenging myself too to see this in a different way. When I heard him talking about how, like, we are going to combat this kind of cultural hateness that's going on right now, this real negativity that seems to be growing, and we need to find a way to combat, and we're going to do that with kindness. Yes, quiet kindness is still important. Yes, you shouldn't do something just to get a badge, but you get a badge by doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you don't do it just for the badge, but you get the badge. Skip that. You do the kindness, get the badge. You're doing the kindness to do the kindness, but you still get the badge. It's not like you're doing the kindness only to get the badge.
But it is okay to do it in this instance to get the badge.
Yes. Because I think, like, the thing about it is, like, the hatred that's growing so quickly, It's freaking loud. They are loud. They are yelling. They are typing things online. They've got the signs. They're loud. So if we're not loud about our kindness, then, like maybe part of it is just being loud about somebody else's kindness if you can't be loud about your own kindness. Maybe it's hard to be, loud about your own, but you can be loud about somebody else's. But I think being loud about being kind or being loud about kindness is part of the goal to try and combat this growing hatred that's going on. When I think about it like that, it kind of challenges that perspective for me, and I'm grateful for that. So
yeah,
I wish them all the luck in the universe and hope that this does viral things and that it does kind of grow that love as opposed to growing hate. I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Yeah.
And I encourage anybody listening, I really do encourage people to get involved in small ways and big ways, whatever calls to your heart.
Yeah.
Don't do something inauthentically, but whatever calls to your heart, let's make this grow as much as we can.
Totally.
Yeah.
It also reminded me that generally I feel like I'm pretty good at doing kind things, but in the last little while I've been so grumpy and miserable in my own pregnancy that I'm like, I don't remember the last kind thing I actually did beyond the things that are teaching kindness and empathy, but not doing it to someone. As an example, just yesterday, there was me and my kids were sitting on our front lawn, and this person, I could hear them coming up the street, and they were yelling very angry things. It sounded like they were on the phone, but I couldn't tell if this person was on the phone or if it was a mentally ill person that was walking down the street. And they were I can't even remember what they were saying. It wasn't just bad words. It wasn't like they were just swearing. It was like, I'm going to fucking kill you. I'm going to fucking chop your head off. I'm going to it was pretty aggressive. And I heard it and I was like, maybe they're just I'll give them a second to see if maybe they're on a phone call and it ends before they get here. And then they started doing it again as I got closer. And I was like, kids, we're going in the house. Everybody in the house for 2 minutes, everybody in the house. And they were like, because I was like, just go in the house. We'll talk about when we get in there. Go in the house. So they all go in. And they're like, is it because that person was yelling and saying mean things? I was like, yes, it was. And I was like, we just don't need to listen to what they were saying. And my kids were like, well, someone should teach them to be responsible and not say things around people that shouldn't hear it. And I was like, yeah, you're not wrong. And so the kindness I taught, the kindness I said had absolutely nothing to do with that person. They don't know this happened, but with teaching my kids, yeah, but sometimes there's circumstances that's not possible. And I was like, it's possible that person was just really angry and having a really hard time and having a hard time seeing the world around them. It's possible that person had a mental health condition that doesn't allow them to see the world behind them and they're not able to learn those things. I said there's a whole bunch of possibilities. I don't know what the answer is, and it doesn't really matter what the answer is. We're just going to remove ourselves from the situation and give that person space to deal with what they're doing. Yeah. And when they go by, we can come back out. And so beyond
that's so kind. Yes,
it is, because I'm teaching my kids to have empathy for that person, and not be judgmental. But my usual of going out and actually being kind to somebody. I was like, oh, I should stop being so grumpy and maybe do something nice for somebody. So having this conversation reminded me to get out of my own self-pity box.
I've been doing things for you, Sammi. I've been doing
Excellent.
things for you. I've upped the ante lately. I've been doing things for you. Don't worry.
Excellent. So anyways, I'm really grateful for this conversation, and I'm really excited to put this episode out there. Thank you so much, Peter. We're super honored that your team reached out to us to be on the podcast again. We absolutely love having you every single time and love sharing about all of the amazing things that you do.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. To help support the growth of this podcast, please feel free to leave us a review, follow us on socials, or recommend us to your friends. Your support honestly means the world to us. With love, Sammi and Melissa.